Welcome to the Dad Show podcast. How y'all doing?
It's part 1 today. Is that correct, Lincoln?
Yes.
Thank y'all for listening. Have a great day.
You too.
Welcome to the Dad Show podcast, a show all about impacting, empowering, inspiring, and uplifting information to become a better dad, husband, man, and mentor. And now, your host, Ryan Ladd.
Welcome back to the Dad Show, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank y'all for being here, for watching and listening. I've got Mr. JT Tallent in the studio. I wish I could put it on paper, a sign, a board, something, how much I think of this man, how much I love this man. He has truly been a blessing and to our family with everything he does. Anytime we contact him and say, man, will you sing at our event? And he's like, I'm there. Just let me know the date, time. I'll cancel whatever. Absolutely. And I'm there. And that's not just the reason that I think highly of you, man. Just the love, the spirit, the everything that comes out of you is just so amazing and, inspiring. And man, I'm just, I'm so thankful for our friendship. Absolutely. And for everything that you do, man. It's awesome. So thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. Awesome. And, man, I'm really excited about our conversation today and what we got to talk about. So
it's going to be fun.
So if you don't care, take just a minute, open up, tell people who they're listening to, maybe a little bit about your family, where you grew up, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, my name is JT Tallent. I grew up in Athens, Tennessee, which is like 45 minutes, maybe 50 from here.
And you still live there, right? You still live?
No, I actually live in Kingston, but that has been maybe the past 4 years.
Okay.
3. All right. I'm really bad with time. It's like 3 or 4 years I've been up here. And before that, we lived in Lenore City just to try to get a little bit closer because my wife still works in Athens.
Okay.
We've been married 11, it'll be 12 years in September.
Wow.
She'll be proud that I remembered that. We have a little
I won't
boy.
ask the date. Don't worry about it.
September 7th, I got it. That one's easy. We've got a little boy who just turned 4 in October. He's a mess. His name's Lyric Talent. We took a huge risk naming him Lyric.
Well, if he's anything like his daddy, man.
Yeah, I'm hoping that he's like me and not like his mom. And I love his mom to death, but she is not musically gifted.
Yep.
Yeah, she can sing every now and again. Sometimes she gets a little crazy. But yeah, so we're hoping that he has some type of musical gene.
Well, you are very talented. So if you passed any of that on to him, man, I'm telling y'all, this guy should have his own record deal.
Oh.
You all need to listen to him, follow him, because it's amazing.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. There's a lot of good musicians, singers that are out there that nobody has any clue about.
That's true. I mean? Oh, wow.
It's a tough industry to make it in. So.
Sometimes you don't want to be in that industry.
Absolutely.
Either. It's better to.
It's actually part of my story. It was a decision that I was going to make.
Wow.
Some things happened where God was like, okay, yeah, let's not do that. Let's move on to something else.
So JT, to give y'all just a little bit of aspect, is the worship leader at the Grove Church here in Kingston, Tennessee. He does do some little side stuff. You still do that?
Every now and again. Most of the time, it's just for you guys, though.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hey, anytime. I love it. I love you guys. I love your family. I love what you guys stand for. I don't know. I love you guys.
Thank you,
my family.
That's awesome. I appreciate that. So let's get into that background, man. So let's talk about, your quick upbringing and childhood, and then we'll move on and get on to what you gave just a little bit of, threw some little breadcrumbs out there about what we're going to get into talking about. But so growing up, man, did you grew up in Athens?
Mm-hmm.
And was you in church growing up, or?
I cannot remember a time where I was not in church.
Okay.
The first 15 years of my life, I was going to Hilltop Baptist Church in Riceville, Tennessee, which I don't even think they have a red light. It might be the size of this building. It's very, very small for a town, and but we had a church called Hilltop Baptist Church that I was there. Brother Don Carter was the pastor. He was my first pastor, and he had a huge impact on me as a kid growing up in church. He never shied away from talking to the kids or anything like that. He was a huge help for me.
Yeah.
I love him to death. Started playing music when I was 5. Started out with the drums.
I bet your parents loved that.
They hated it. They got me one of those. It wasn't like a great drum set, but it was a drum set, and I didn't have any drumsticks, so I would go out and I would cut sticks off the trees.
Wow.
And that's what I would use to play the drums with. And we didn't have like a basement at that time to where I was playing, so I had it upstairs where they were. It was not great. It was not great for them. But yeah, I played on my sister's CDs of country music, Trisha Yearwood, Reba McEntire, all that good stuff, which is really weird now thinking about it. But so yeah, we started playing music when I was 5 and 6. Started singing a little bit after that in terms of with my cousin Marla. We had a little 2-man band. My dad played the piano early in life, and then all the way up until he passed. And he had the opportunity to play for Chet Atkins.
Wow.
Before Chet Atkins was actually, Chet Atkins.
Yeah.
Decided not to because he didn't want to play in the bars and stuff like that. He wanted to play in churches and stuff like that. So that decision, I think about that decision that my dad made a long time ago. Like I still even think about it like today.
Yeah.
And he started playing in a band called the Interstate Quartet, and they traveled all around the South, playing gospel music in churches. So yeah, we've been doing music. Our family has been in the music business, if you'd say that, for as long as I can remember.
Yeah. So that's what inspired you.
My dad was a huge inspiration for me, musically.
Yeah.
There was him, and then my cousin Travis Standridge, and then Rick Shaddering, the guy that I write music with. It's been a while since we wrote together, but he was also a drummer and kind of got me into wanting to play the drums.
Okay.
And then my cousin, he's a bass player. Never really wanted to play the bass until later on. But he could also play the drums, which I was really into. I love playing the drums.
Yeah.
And my dad was always like, "No, you need to play the piano." I was like, "No, that is boring. That is terrible. Why would I do that?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
the drummer is so much more of a cooler,
they're the superstar.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Not somebody playing a keyboard. What are we doing? You know what I mean?
I don't know, man. Once you get, I'm like very envious of that because I can't carry a tune in a bucket and I can't play an instrument, at all. So that's why whenever I was a DJ, I played off a laptop because that was the only way that anybody was going to listen to the music I was playing.
I got you.
And so, just to think of when I go listen to music now and I see somebody playing the keys, like, that's phenomenal at playing, like I recognize that. And I'm like, that is, that's awesome that they can do that and just, hey, fingers work.
So
and all that.
my dad and myself, we have two completely different styles. My dad reads music, and he has certain keys that he does not, that he didn't like to play in. You know what I mean? And there were certain rhythms that he struggled with, but he needed the music in front of him for the most part. I can't read music to save my life. Wow. I would have a better chance of reading a book written in Chinese than reading like sheet music.
Really? This is
can't do it. We would when he put me into music lessons to actually play the piano, I had 4-5 different teachers, and they would put the book there, with all the notes. This not crazy notes, just like one note, and then you go with it.
Yeah.
And then I would read it, and I would play it one time, and then I wouldn't need to read it anymore.
Wow. Yeah.
Teachers hated that. Because I would look down to see where I was going because I didn't need the sheet music anymore.
You would remember.
Yes. And I can't explain it. It just kind of happened.
Not that you would remember the notes, but you would remember the melody. I would remember
how the song would go.
Yeah.
And then just play it.
Wow. That's a gift, man.
And then they would smack my hand with the ruler. And it's like, I don't need this. I don't want this.
Yeah.
You're not my mom. Quit spanking me with a ruler.
Yeah.
So I told Dad, I was like, I don't want to do it anymore. And he's like, okay, I'll teach you. That lasted 2 weeks. He taught me for 2 weeks, and he was like, no. He said, if you don't want to play, you don't want to play. And that's when it got to the point where I was like, I want to play. I want to make my dad happy. I want to make him proud.
Yeah.
So I decided to teach myself. So what I did was I just started in every key, same song, until I could play that song without messing up in every single key. And then once I figured out what keys go with what, key that you're in, kind of made it easy.
So did that really, whenever he was trying to teach you and realized, that you don't want to play, like, did he just basically shut down? How did that conversation go? Because
there was a lot of frustration.
Yeah.
Because he's a traditional pianist.
Yeah.
I am not. I don't play a lot of the lead licks or play the melody. I will chord and throw little accents in there. I keep it as simple as possible. Because when I do lead worship, I don't want how I'm playing the keyboard to step over the words in which I'm trying to give to the congregation.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. Take the forefront of it.
We need any type of distractions that I could possibly put in there with doing some special run. Maybe I mess up or just the run is just crazy.
Yeah.
I don't want people to break them out of the habit of what they're doing and actually worshiping, to hear that, and then they're like thinking, wow, that was really cool. And then it kind of breaks what they're at, that connection.
Yeah. And, so I've run the soundboard at church a little bit and help out. And, I try to tell them that, we can have bad sound and nobody's going to hear this message. Mm-hmm. Or we can have really good sound and they're going to get the message more clear and better. But there's also that fine line of when you're trying to show out concert-ish, but you want to get it to that energy almost for, to feel the Holy Spirit and really to let loose and allow God in, not, having your arms crossed and sitting there just like, but like you said, there's that fine line of bringing that energy, but not trying to put yourself in the spotlight and forefront to overcome the message that God is bringing through through the words and through the song. So, that's a really, and it's a hard fine line to define.
It can get tricky.
Yeah, at times. And, whenever you start feeling the Holy Spirit, even as a sound guy back in the back in a dark little room, like, I'm dancing, like I'm getting into it. And, so I couldn't imagine being on stage and really playing the instrument and, starting to feel God move would be hard to control. But,
And most of the time when I'm up there, and I'm supposed to be leading the congregation in the worship, but at the same time, I feel like worshiping is something that you have to do, regardless of if you're being led or not. Yeah. It's a choice that you make every single day, not just at church for 15, 20 minutes when we're singing. It's not just about singing. It's about how you live your life, what you're putting first in your life. And in those 15 to 20 minutes that we sing on Sunday mornings, it's not a lot of time. If you think about it.
Yeah.
15 to 20 minutes out of a 24-hour day it's not much at all.
No.
And 24 hours go by really quick. Years go by really quick.
Yeah,
It'll be 40 in a month. What is going on?
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where'd it go? So when I'm up there leading, like a lot of times my eyes are closed to eliminate distractions. Not saying that our congregation, please don't hear me say this. Our congregation is not a distraction.
Yeah.
They sing, they worship, they show emotions.
Yeah.
But a lot of times I like to close my eyes because when I'm up there, even though I'm supposed to be leading and I am leading, like it's just me and God.
Yeah.
In that moment.
Yeah. And worshiping with them.
Correct.
Not,
correct.
Like you said, leading them to worship. But I don't want to pass there. You said something really, really strong and powerful right there, that you don't have to be at church, and it's how you lead your life and worship with God every single day.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Like that's such a powerful statement to make, because a lot of people do. They go through Monday through Saturday, and they're like, okay, well, it's Sunday. I'm going to church, and that's my time of worship, that 1 hour or whatever the case may be, however long you spend at church. But that's my time to worship. And like you said, and such a powerful statement, that's not the case. Like, you spend it every day with God, worshiping with him, no matter where you're at church or not, wherever you're at. So
absolutely,
I didn't want to pass over that. That's really strong.
It's crazy when you start, if you actually just sit down and you think about all the things that you do throughout the day, like how often we were just talking about reels before we got on, how easy it is just to watch them and just go to the next, go to the next, go to the next.
Yeah.
How much time that actually consumes. You know what I mean?
Even though they're really short.
So short.
But yet you can spend so much time on them.
Absolutely. You give me a good golf reel and I'll just keep going and going and going. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I got
and I'll send it to Tyler because he's terrible. That's the thing that we do.
So growing up in your family, and you know, your family's obviously in it for music, you know, y'all are traveling around, like you said, and doing stuff. Did that almost make you want to divert from that? Or did, you know, because you can almost get burnt out on stuff by doing it all the time and almost want to take a different route. Or did it drive you to make you want to do it more?
I'm not going to lie. There were some churches that we would go to and sing. So the group that we had was Young Praise. It was my sister, me, and all my cousins. And then my dad would play the keyboard until it was like, all right, you take over. So then I started playing. But we would go to churches. We would try to do 2, sometimes 3 bookings on a Sunday every month.
Wow.
There were some churches that were like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Why
because of the energy or just their attitude?
The energy, they just seemed like they hated it because we started out like Southern gospel stuff.
Yeah.
And then when I started, we started adding a little bit more of the contemporary, you know, worship type stuff. And a lot of the churches that we would go to, they weren't ready for that.
Yeah. Or they just don't like the change. Like,
correct.
I think about the church I grew up in, and my grandfather, I went to a men's breakfast with him the other day, and this is so funny, and I don't want to go off on this rabbit hole, but a younger worship leader came up and asked my grandfather's best friend, hey, you want to sing in the choir today? And he said, if you're going to sing them new hymns, I ain't going to sing, but if you want to sing them old ones, the old classical, I'll get up there and sing. And, you know, I mean, we're talking 2025 now, you know what I mean? So people still not wanting to, and there's nothing wrong with the old hymns.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with that. But I think of worshiping and learning the Bible and all that, like just as you are in school. Everybody doesn't learn the same way. Nobody feels it the same way.
Absolutely.
There has to be all these different aspects. So
nobody worships the same.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's nothing wrong with the old songs. And a lot of the problems that people have with the new stuff, they say it's not biblical.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's some old hymns that are out there, you know, theology wise, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree.
So, okay, if you don't like the ones that don't have a strong biblical, you know, statement in it, don't sing those songs. Don't sing them, but don't group that song with all the other ones.
Yeah.
That are like, how great is our God? Okay, is he great or is he not?
Yeah.
If you can't worship to that, then there's something wrong here. Whether you're just strictly a hymn guy, hymn woman, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you can't worship, how great is our God?
I agree.
It's a heart problem.
I agree, but that's a whole mental and prideful issue that we could probably go down for days on. So
there were churches that we would go to that are like, I don't know why we're doing this. They hated every second of that. And then there were some churches who were like, this is why we do it.
Yeah.
This is why we do it.
Yeah. But there was probably, you know, the churches that you did go to that they didn't like, and you didn't like being there just because the energy wasn't correct.
Yeah.
There was somebody there that God needed, you know, to hear that message, to hear that song. And so it was for a reason.
No, we never charged. We didn't charge. If you want to give a love offering, you could.
Yeah.
We had no fee whatsoever. We did not get paid to do any of this. We just enjoyed music. That's what we do. And we wanted to go sing. That was our ministry.
Wow.
And there would be times where we'd go to churches and they were just like this, arms crossed the whole time. Showed no emotion. And then by the time the love offering would come, it showed how much they actually enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You're not going to pay for something that you didn't enjoy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you were like, I don't understand any of this. What just happened?
Yeah.
So yeah, there was times where it would be discouraging,
Mm-hmm.
and you were like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. And then there's times where like, yeah, this is fantastic. I want to do more of this. I want to do more of this.
So let's switch gears a little bit and get into what you kind of gave a little breadcrumbs on earlier, of your decision to either stay in, I'm assuming is where we're going, stay in the gospel realm or try to pursue a music career in the music industry.
Yeah. My wife and I were married 11 years ago, and I think we're within a year and a half, something like that, of being married. At that time, I was working at Marvon Pest Control, killing bugs. Hated every second of it. Every second of it.
Yeah, I would imagine.
For those that are in like the bug killing business,
yeah,
kudos to you. Many crowns are waiting you. You know what I mean? I couldn't do it again. It was terrible.
Wow.
Love my boss and love the people that I worked with. I just did not like crawling underneath houses. That is for the birds.
I could spray for the bugs, but whenever you getting calling for snakes and stuff like that, and I'm out, dude.
Did not like it at all. But there was a moment where I was talking to a guy in Nashville, and I was thinking about making the move.
Thank you for watching part 1 and come back tomorrow for part 2. Thank you for listening to the Dad Show podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Dad Show podcast. Please like, review, and subscribe.